The decisions they make influence sports in Arizona now and in the future. Every move they make is news. Doug and Wolf present Newsmakers Week 2014. Presented by National Bank of Arizona. Arizona Sports. Now on 98.7 FM.
So we thought that we brought head coach Herb Sendek in to talk ASU basketball, but he just lit a fire under Wolf, so there's no way we could avoid this because Wolf's bouncing off the walls. Herb Sendek, head coach of Arizona State basketball, has just come out, whether this is off the record or not, we're throwing you under the bus, in favor of eliminating the extra point. It's 6 points for a touchdown, and you have to go for two, and Wolf's going nuts ever since. Coach, begin the debate.
Well, I heard Bill Belichick talk about it, and he knows a little football. And I said that makes great common sense given the fact that there's a 99% conversion rate on extra points in the NFL. Imagine the drama it would lead after a touchdown if you had to go for two, how that would impact winning. I think it would be fantastic.
So it's 2-on-1 Wolf debate.
Yeah, you probably also want to see the kickoff eliminated, don't you?
I'm not as
adamant
about that, although we could talk about it.
Oh, no!
That's pretty
if there
impressive.
was one guy here in Phoenix, and please take this as a compliment, because that's how it was. But if there was one guy that I thought would see the value of tradition to some degree, it would be Coach Herb.
No, I love tradition, and I'll side with you on the kickoff as an act of good faith and compromise. But let's go for two, Wolf.
Oh, man.
That's the official slogan now. Let's go for two. Coach Herb Sendek joining us in studio for Newsmakers Week, presented by National Bank of Arizona. I said this to you just a second ago, but I want everybody else to be in on this. How many people do you think in this city realize your home success this year? If you buy a ticket to an ASU basketball game, you want to talk about 99%. The chances of you seeing a win are very, very strong with how well you have played at home. And I don't know how many people realize that. What's been your success at home? Why have you been so successful at home this year?
Well, we had our best home crowd of the year on Saturday afternoon against Oregon. It was really a great environment for college basketball. And the competition, really makes it entertaining and fun to watch because, as you know, this year in the Pac-12, every game is competitive. Every game is challenging. But we've had terrific support. We seem to be breaking every student attendance record in the history of basketball at ASU. In other words, the next game breaks the previous game's record.
Stay on that, because football was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
What is it about this core group of kids that's coming through ASU right now?
Well, one thing I think has really helped basketball is a year ago we started this 942 crew because there's 942 seats in the lower bowl for students, and it's really caught fire, and they've done a great job of taking ownership. They're creative at games, and I think that's really helped with the excitement and energy in the building.
You mentioned the Oregon game. How do you process a game like that as a head coach when you had a 21-point lead, I believe? You blew that lead, right, Herb? And now all of a sudden you rallied and were able to win the game in the end. How do you process that?
Well, first you start with the knowledge that basketball is a game of runs. And as long as there's that three-point shot, leads evaporate very quickly. In other words, we not only had a 21-point lead, but we lost it for all intents and purposes, maybe not all of it, in about 4 minutes. It wasn't that we lost it in 20 minutes. We lost it in 4 minutes of play, and then it was game on again. Joe Young, the shooting guard from Oregon, put on a show that it's been a long time in college basketball since I've seen that. He had 0 points at the half and then went for 29 in the second half and just was in a zone.
Herb Sendek joining Doug and Wolf here on Arizona Sports Now on 98.7 FM. You mentioned the success of the Pac-12 this year. Basketball-wise, it has been phenomenal. Now, there is the Big Ten's having a great year. Big 12 is not getting talked about nearly enough for how good that their basketball has been. But for you, what has stood out Pac-12-wise? Why is your conference getting better?
Well, I think we have a very rich talent pool right now. Every team has good players. For a spot there, maybe we didn't have quite the depth of talent because previously we just had an inordinate number of guys go early to the NBA.
Yes.
And we couldn't, as a league, replenish them fast enough. And so once we got over that speed bump, I think, we're right back. And I think the differentiator for the Pac-12 right now is there is absolutely, positively no bad teams. None. Mm-hmm. And there isn't any team that isn't capable of winning almost any game. And so even some of the other conferences that are very strong and difficult, not that there's ever an easy game, I don't mean to imply that, but maybe the bottom third of the league, isn't as strong.
It's interesting that you bring up something else there, and I don't know if you meant to. I don't think a lot of college basketball fans know that Herb Sendek and every college basketball coach has zero to do with one and done. It is completely the NBA Players Association and the league's inability to convert them and convince them that we need to at least have 2 years. I'd love to see the baseball model in which you decide out of high school, are you going pro or not? And if you decide no, you're on a college campus for 3 years, end of discussion. I love that. And yet, is there anything, as I just kind of absolve all of college coaching, is there anything you guys can do to eliminate one and done, because it is, to me, so detrimental to the college game?
The only thing we could do is continue to have communication, to talk with the NBA. And there's been progress, I think, over the last few years with that, and continue to examine the best possibilities.
You're right about being able to make that change.
Herb, in the next beautiful part of the program, okay, I want to ask you whether or not you feel like you have a tournament team. I don't want you to answer that right now, but in the next beautiful part of the program, because I know you're coming back, I want to ask you that.
That's coming up on Arizona Sports, now on 98.7 FM.
The decisions they make influence sports in Arizona now and in the future. Every move they make is news. Doug and Wolf present Newsmakers Week 2014. Presented by National Bank of Arizona. Arizona Sports, now on 98.7 FM.